Hi all, hope you're all doing well. This little device right here is the Sonicake Pocket Master, and it is quite popular on the internet at the moment. So I thought I would add my little bit to that kind of hype and make my own little video, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. So most videos I've seen at least covering the features and particularly the NAM profiling capability that this thing has, but I haven't seen anyone who's been taking them out and playing them live before. But I have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the Sonicake Pocket Master does in a live setting. So just to quickly get up to speed, if you don't know, this is a super affordable, super cheap multi-effects pedal, which has all the different effects and overdrives and distortions you would ever want, as well as amp and cabinet simulation. So it's your full guitar rig in a box essentially, which is really cool. It's very, very small, as you can see, will fit in pretty much any guitar gig bag. And it does have the capability to run NAM captures, which is neural amp modelers, which is kind of a form of amp modeling, is what I understand it to be anyway. So it can run those, although not in a traditional way, because it kind of takes the NAM files and then converts it into its own format that it can read. And to be honest, my experience with running NAM files and impulse response files on this device is they don't sound that good. So if you're looking for a NAM capture sort of device, this is probably not the one. What it has got going for it though, however, is a really great bass sound with the amp simulations that are in the pedal, like built in already, and the cab simulations, and just a really great, easy to use interface once you get the hang of it, and particularly if you use the app as well. But I wanted to talk about playing it live. So I've played it out jamming with some friends and, different bands and whatever, and I've also been playing it at church a couple of times. So I wanted to talk about the functionality of actually playing it live. And I do want to say, when I've been playing it live, it's just been this: into a DI box, into the sound desk. Nothing extra, just the guitar, into this, into the sound desk. No extra Bluetooth foot switch, nothing. It's just been the Sonicake Pocket Master on its own, which brings me to talking about some of the practicalities with playing with this sort of device live. So I guess there's sort of two categories that I want to talk about when talking about this device live. So first category is like the practical functionality. How does it actually function, and how usable is it live? And then the quality of the sound as well. Let's talk about the sounds of this device, because it's really straightforward. It sounds really good. Like I said, the NAM profiles don't sound fantastic. I will caveat that by saying I've only ever used free ones, because I'm not paying to get NAMs or impulse responses. It's not my world. I'm not that into it. So, maybe I'm not getting the best quality ones, but yeah, they don't sound that great, if I'm honest. The built-in amp sounds though, and the built-in cab sounds are fantastic. They're, just as good as any other sort of semi-budget to mid-price modeler. Obviously, you're not getting Helix or, quad cortex quality, but you're getting a very usable, very giggable, inspiring sound, I think. This one is Dynasound, which is one of the only neural amp model files I've found I like, which is a Mesa Boogie Lone Star. So I don't use that live, so we'll skip over that. So I've got a basic clean sound, which is, just basic sort of clean with a bit of verb and compression. And then I've got clean ambience, which is the same but delay and reverb. And then an ambient pad, which is sort of a very synth sort of thing. And then if you scroll the other way, I've got a dry drive sound, and then a drive with delay, and then an ambient drive. So I kind of base my sound around the clean dry sound and the drive dry sound. As you can see, you use these foot switch buttons, which are just little rubber foot switch buttons to scroll up and down the presets. As far as I know, there's no individual turning on and off effects in each patch. You just got to make your patch and then go for it. So that's how I've got it structured, really. So let's talk practicality of using this thing live. So you do have to basically make your patches and then scroll up and down the patches. That's a little annoying, not ideal if you're the sort of guy who has a ton of different sounds and is changing them regularly throughout songs. I'm not that guy. Even at church, I can, make one sound work or two sounds work throughout a song. And the way I've got them ordered means that, if I need to go from a clean sound to a clean sound with heaps of delay, it's, all in the right order. It's only one or two clicks away. Same if I'm going to a clean sound to a drive with delay, it's, only one or two clicks away. The foot switches themselves are pretty kind of flimsy rubber, and, you've got to make sure you really press them correctly to get the scrolling through the patches happening. Having said that, they don't feel, super flimsy. If you're not stomping on it, like absolutely stomping on it, it should last a long time. Using the app is probably the way to go to make patches and stuff. Having said that, using the one knob and then the foot switches to kind of make patches on the device is, pretty easy as well. I'm not going to cover that because there's plenty of other videos covering that. I just wanted to talk about the live practicalities. It does a really good job playing live, and then, you press the two buttons at the same time to get the tuner up. The tuner mutes the signal, and the tuner's not bad quality either. It's a rechargeable device, and the battery has lasted me, from sound check all the way through to the end of a service with no problems, so that's really cool. You've got one input and one output, so I use the output to go straight into a DI or straight into the sound desk or whatever. The USB out, which turns this device into a sound card essentially to plug into your computer, I think sounds pretty bad. I would never ever use that for any reason. I have another sound card which I would just go out of this into the sound card instead of USB straight into the computer. I think, it doesn't sound great. And then you've got the USB to charge it as well. You can have that plugged in while you're playing live as well. So we're just going to go through a couple of the presets I've got here. Like I said, I've got just some real basic sounds, but I'll give you a quick demonstration on each of them so you can hear the quality of the sound. But yeah, I think the practicalities of playing it live, if you've got your presets, set up, and, if you're a church player, for example, you're using similar presets week to week, so you're not, changing up the sound, your basic sound much. I think if you've got your what are these called, patches in the right order, you're good to go. And I really love that I can just charge it up, throw it into the gig bag with my guitar, and that's all I need to take. It's really good. So now you've heard the sounds, you know, you make up your own mind on whether it sounds good. I think it really does a good job. In terms of the practicality of gigging, like I've said, it's not the perfect gigging device. Obviously, you know, there are limitations having just one knob and two rubber foot switches. Having said that, I am more than happy to make the sacrifice of making this thing work, scrolling up and down the patches, if it means I only have to take this in my guitar gig bag. It's just so handy. It sounds really good. It's just removes all the hassle of, you know, gigging. And I actually don't find it that much of a compromise scrolling through patches anyway. Like, it's really not a big deal if you've got them ordered in the right way. So anyway, that's my little video on the Sonicake Pocket Master. I would highly recommend it if you're just looking for a cheap, throw in the gig bag multi-effects pedal to do some gigs with or whatever. You know, if you want to watch another video about, you know, the actual in-depth effect editing or the NAMM profile file thing that it can do, I'm not the guy for that video. Go check out another one. Anyway, that's it from me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you pick up one of these devices in the comments below, or if you already have one. It comes in really cool colors as well. I just got it in the plain black because I didn't want it to stand out on stage too much, but it does come in some really cool funky colors as well. So check them out. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.